Hey everyone, Ryan Stock here from Beautiful PB. Just wanted to share with you the bike audit that we conducted last weekend. So this was done on December 6th, 2025. It was a nice sunny December day on a Saturday. And I wanted to take a look at kind of what the lived experience of someone who is living in the transit-oriented development area around the Balboa Avenue trolley. And if we're asking people to live a lower car life, what would their actual experience be if they're choosing to bike around this area? So we wanted to go and just experience what that uh, what the infrastructure is today and kind of where areas of the most improvement could be found. So the route that we're doing here, we were starting down here at Playa 2. We were doing a community climate conversation. This first bit here along Mission Bay Drive is all Sharrows, as we'll see. Uh, and then we come up here into the within the radius of the Balboa Avenue trolley stop. And here we get some tricky things because we're constrained by the 5 and people coming off Mission Bay Drive, still feeling like they're kind of driving on a freeway. But this cluster right here is where we already see a fair number of medium density, middle density developments, and I know there are more coming soon. So let's jump right into it. Most of the speeds here are at 2 times speed, and then a couple places where I speed it up even further, where we're like waiting at lights. So I skipped ahead here to where we meet our first challenge. So this is where we are about right here. And I'll skip over to the maps here. We're right here on Mission Bay Drive, or looking to turn on to Mission Bay Drive. And we find our first challenge of this intersection, which is really uh, not fun to try to navigate. So we could technically come here and try to pull onto that. But then we'd have a merge right here, and this is with basically freeway traffic, cars coming directly off. This is not not a friendly route. So instead, we decided to go along here and take this pedestrian path and then use the light to get across. But we come up with our first challenge, which is when you bike up here, there's no ramp until you kind of overshoot a bit. So we had to overshoot, make this hard turn, and then that actually let us get onto this path here. And then this path is pretty narrow. There was no one walking it when we were going through, but if there was, a pedestrian would have to step aside if we're trying to travel out on our bike. So this could definitely be widened. This is next to the golf course here. And then our second big challenge is that we need to cross a lot of lanes of traffic. Not something we're going to do without a light. So we go and hit the button at this intersection here, Rosewood Street and Mission Bay Drive. And we had to wait a whole 90 seconds from the time we pressed the button until we actually got a green. And it was a little bit longer than that. And that cars still are pushing that yellow pretty good, like that guy. And then we're finally able to actually pass. So already a minute and a half wait is very significant when you're just standing there next to freeway speed traffic. All right, and then we get over into on Rosewood Street here, and you can see some of that middle density development. Lots of people have bikes up in their balconies. This is a weekend, the middle of the day on a Saturday, and you can see it's already quite parked. So there's really not much street parking available here already. So we have to scale past cars if we're going to be putting more development in this area. You can see I'm looking around a lot there. So this is pretty chill in that there wasn't a lot of traffic going on there at that point. Where now we loop all the way up here down to Bunker Hill. And now we're interfacing back with Mission Bay Drive, which can be a little tricky. There's a big group of people walking across there. We have a bit of a group, so I'm kind of waiting for them. And then we're going to be pulling into this bike lane here. Um, I'm thankful that we had the bike lane, but it is unprotected and this traffic can be moving quite quick. On our particular travel here, we're going to be turning on Magnolia Avenue. So a short trip, we're going to try to get over across this traffic. Fortunately, what you just can't quite see, there was a big camper van that was kind of holding up traffic there, which kind of let us sneak across. Then here we hit our second light. This is also a pretty significant wait. I think this is about 45 seconds. Yeah, this is Mission Bay Drive turning onto Magnolia Avenue. And this is an area where if we could just get to the trolley directly, across these uh, the self-storage, like a maybe a tunnel or something, but it's tough when you can see the trolley station is right there. We're so close, but from here to over there is just all parking lots and car dealerships and storage. Like it's such an unfriendly environment for people that are trying to live a low car life. You have to just live in a total sea of car infrastructure here. However, once we get onto Magnolia Avenue, this is more of a residential street. It starts to chill out pretty quick, and we get a nice clear pass through this four-way stop, no problem. Then Bond Street is a two-way stop where we stop for traffic coming through, but not a whole lot of traffic. It's just kind of a connector for the neighborhoods here. And then the rest of Magnolia Street, there's a lot of cars just kind of sitting in the middle of the road and doing such, but that's all right because it's a cul-de-sac at the end. People aren't moving too quick. The condition, there's doors, there's all sorts of stuff going on here. Anyway, once we get up on the Rose Creek bike path, you just feel that sense of relief of being on your own dedicated space. Rose Creek bike path could definitely use some TLC, but it's a beautiful day, so we're happy to be out there. So now we're cruising down that, and we come up to the Decapitator. It's a very low bridge there. Get under that, and all of this is functional, but definitely could use could use a refresh on everything. Some cracked asphalt there. As we come down here, you can see the kind of channel that you're in is, I mean, you're surrounded by chain link fences and a pretty narrow bikeway. If we had to pass anyone, bike passing bike, it would be a challenge here. We do get some runners and stuff, and you can see we're like basically pushed out into the dirt. Um, so not the greatest experience of a bike path, but it's functional, and we're happy to be safe from cars here. So now we're coming around the corner. We just did this little snake thing there, and then we'll pop out right here on North Mission Bay Drive. We're going to go across the bridge. So this is kind of simulating the route that if someone lived here and wanted to go to the beach, how would they go out? Garnett's pretty high traffic, not a very friendly place to be. But if you can get onto the Rose Creek bike path and then get onto PB Drive, which is what we're doing here. So now we're going past Campland right here. No, right now we're at the bridge over Rose Creek. Then we'll go out across Campland all the way out to PB Drive, and then that can kind of let you get out into the rest of PB. Now, ideally, we'd be able to travel on Garnett and have like a northern access route, but you know what? This is it's not the worst way to access PB. You can see just the difference of traveling along with the high school being there and the open fences and fields. This feels much nicer even than the narrow channels where there's just a little space to kind of breathe. We can comfortably pass other bikes or runners and pedestrians. There's no problems here. And then we actually see quite a lot of traffic on this route here. So now we are popping out past Campland. And so we are right about here along this bit of PB Drive. And you can see there's just tons of people biking, big old campers, lots of people out and active, some friendly bikers that we were chatting with there. And pop out across here. Here the roads are a little rough, but it's pretty chill right now. So PB pathways, Pacific Beach Drive is a PB pathway, but it's kind of odd in that it's a Sharrow going the west direction, and then there is a bike lane going the east direction. But you can see there's certainly demand for like a bi-directional bike path, which would be really nice. So this parking is kind of impacted by some of these bulb outs. So it'd be really interesting if we just do parking on one side, maybe angled so that we don't lose all the spots, and then make this a bi-directional. Because we can see there's definitely good volume and demand there. And then this does serve as such a vital bike corridor into PB, especially into the bay, access down to the bay. You can continue this way to OB, although I guess you might also do this side. But yeah, thank you for taking a look at this experience. We really learned that if we're going to be asking people to live a low car life, we shouldn't ask them to live in the most car dependent sewer. We need to make it like a nice experience, especially for that first initial bit. And I think that the two key ways that we can do that are making the exits to the Rose Creek bike path. So either down through this access through here to get people onto North Mission Bay Drive and off of the kind of freeway exit speed area of Mission Bay Drive, over to the trolley. And there's a number of ways that would be nice to do that. If we can widen out here, if there was a way to do a tunnel under that could get us over to the trolley station. And then there's also a north access. The Rose Creek Trail can come up here and you can kind of come up around, exit up around here. But then you still have the question of like, how do you get from there to the trolley station? And all of them kind of feed through Mission Bay Drive or Garnet Avenue. And those are just very tricky, especially this intersection right here of Mission Bay Drive and Garnet. Real messy spot. I think those are all the notes that I wanted to share. So if you have any more questions, I would love to do more types of rides like this or more types of previews. But I hope that we can, as we're developing the living situations, we can also make it a very livable place to be by connecting uh, this area with the rest of PB in a way that feels great if you're not in a car.